I feel I am contributing for better changes.
What kind of changes you've managed?
My dream was to become a diplomat. I would say I am Chief People's Officer.
Your university is supporting international initiatives. You have great guests like presidents, prime ministers. You also arrange teaching from members of parliament, ambassadors.
What we do for our students. We are not just the university. I would say I work with people.
Would you go back to diplomacy?
It's a bit complicated to distinguish which is rewarding. Once being a diplomat, you stay a diplomat forever. It's kind of your life commitment. There is no gender in existing opportunities. Be a man or a lady. There are untapped opportunities.
Hello and welcome to QI podcast. I'm your host Ainur Karbozova. Our guest is Ainur Karbozova. She's former diplomat and now deputy chairman of the MNU University. Welcome, Ainur Hanım.
Karalkesh, good evening, Ainur. Thank you for inviting to your podcast today.
So, Ainur Hanım, could you please tell us briefly about your educational journey?
I graduated from the Kazakh secondary school. It's an ordinary secondary school, and then I continued my higher education already in Almaty. That time it was first Kazakh department of the international relations, a very prestigious program at that time because it was a new program for Kazakhstan after it gained its independence back in early 90s, last century. So I continued my higher education in Al-Farabi, Kazakh National University at the International Relations Department, having graduated it with honors. And that time there was a practice, it was a practice of best graduates to be sent by the university to the leading public agencies, state companies. So among limited numbers of the graduates, including myself, 3 of us were sent to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. So after graduating Al-Farabi University, I started my professional journey as a young professional diplomat. So, and then while studying, already working as a young diplomat at the Foreign Affairs Ministry, there was an opportunity for me to also continue my study at the Diplomatic Academy of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I did grasp that opportunity while continuing working. I also did my it isn't a master's, but it's in a way postgraduate studies at the Diplomatic Academy, also on international relations, foreign policy and diplomacy. And then, the Bolashak Presidential Scholarship was an opportunity to go abroad and to study at one of the best universities. And I think that I was lucky enough to have that opportunity as well. So I continued my Master of Science education at one of the best leading universities of the United Kingdom and overall the world, the London School of Economics, and having gained Master of Science degree in Public Management and Governance. So that's all about my educational journey, but I would conclude answering to this question that overall I think life is education. So I think I am at the stage of continuous educating myself, educating my children, and sharing my best knowledge and experience with the people surrounding, especially youth. I always want to be helpful and useful too.
That's true. Wonderful example of lifelong learning. You actually were a scholar of Bolashak some time ago, but you were also president of this educational institution. I say that it's an educational institution because this Center for international programs is not only about Bolashak scholarship, isn't it? Like it also manages different stipends, intergovernmental stipends, and so on. And that would be wonderful to hear about this.
Well, yeah, it's a good question, and I am very much proud of being Bolashak Presidential Scholarship graduate, and I truly believe that there isn't such alternative to Bolashak Presidential Scholarship, and I think Kazakhstan people should be proud to have this unique opportunity that unprecedentedly covers all the financial expenditures and invests in its people that return back to their home country, to Kazakhstan, and contribute massively to the development of our country. And the Bolashak, actually, the time it was launched was quite challenging. You know, it's the early 90s, early years of our independence. In the years of uncertainty, economic chaos, people were not getting their salaries, pensions. I mean, the main priority was about how to provide first essential needs of people, food and health, education. And during those challenging times, the president of Kazakhstan was wise enough to think, I think, long term, and to bring Bolashak into life. And within the course of 30 years of Bolashak's development, despite there is only around 13,000 graduates that have had this opportunity to study abroad and bring knowledge and experience technologies to Kazakhstan, those 13,000 are doing really huge job for our country. And I'm sure, and I remain very much hopeful that Bolashak will be staying for much longer, because there are a lot of young people in need of such scholarship programs as Bolashak, especially those in rural areas, in abandoned areas. I think they need to explore such opportunities as Bolashak. And across the sectors of economy, healthcare, education, industry, IT, creative industries, you name it. If you peep into any of these industries and areas of our country's development, you'll find out Bolashak graduates already on the level of decision making and doing many national level, Republican level, international projects that advance our country's development. And I think the history would evaluate Bolashak properly in some time when the country will see and will understand how Bolashak is unique opportunity, and it continues to be unique opportunity.
What kind of changes you've managed?
Thank you very much, Elnura. Well, I would refrain of saying me as a kind of one person who have done something in the course of leading the team. It's always about the group of enthusiastic and highly committed people, which I was lucky to have in my team as well, and with the great support of all the public agencies, including presidential administration, the government, ministries of education and science, ministries of justice, finance, you name it, the graduates individually. So it's a huge teamwork. That's my first point I would like to emphasize. But if you look at the Bolashak development, each period of its kind of a milestone was requiring some changes. It's not something one person comes and changes because that person wants to change, but because it's a state it's a presidential scholarship, fully financed by the taxpayers' money, meaning that its main purpose is to generate highly committed patriotic professionals who serve the nation in line with the labor market, in line with the state policy priorities and needs of the economy. And if we look at every stage of the important milestones, Bolashak was changing, and I think more than 10 presidents were part of this big changes, and all the time it's getting better and better and better, with also taking into account many technological advancements in the development. And in my period of time, I think what we managed to do is to start, in a way, massive digitalization of the admissions and the selection processes, but also organizing the educational processes as well. And that was not partly, but mainly because of the COVID-19. I was, I wouldn't say lucky, but I had to work with my team during this challenging, turbulent COVID-19 period. And I think that was obvious. Our students had to massively go online, some staying in their study countries, some had to be returned by us to Kazakhstan, but still continue on a distance learning basis. And that was, in a way, natural shift to digital resources, and we managed, with the support of the presidential administration and the Ministry of Education and Science and other public agencies, to bring important legislative changes to the regulations on of the Bolashak Presidential Scholarship. We managed to, of course, simplify the admissions and selection processes by cutting, in a way, heavily bureaucratic selection processes from 6 to 3. We increased requirements to the proficiency of the state language, which I believe is very important, changed in quality change in terms of the requirements to the Bolashak scholarship applicants. But of course, I think the most important one is that it became for the first time all digital. So one staying in an abundant rural area of Kazakhstan, from 2020, in accordance with the new regulations of selection of the Bolashak program applicants, now could stay at their rural areas. He or she would need just a high-speed internet and just to apply documents through eGov platform. It would take just like 20-30 minutes, provided that you have all the required documents at place. And then we managed to create a special selection platform where the applicant, on an online basis, with no personal details, but with the codified identity number, the applicant would enter the special online selection platform, would go through the complex testing, and then online meeting with the experts, the final panel, and all was with the proctoring system also integrated. So all was, despite it was pilot, it was first time we managed to do successful digitalization. And that time it was Vice Minister of Education and Science, Mr. Miraz Davlenov, whom we worked together during this challenging time, and we managed to do this digitalization of Bolashak. And of course, many changes we did in communications with the Bolashak scholarship holders who are studying in different countries abroad, but also I think we managed to, in a way, humanize the communications in terms of aftercare with the Bolashak graduates, in terms of being helpful, not just as a kind of a controller of their employment after their study in accordance with their majors in different areas of employment, but to be like a real supporter in terms of trying to find a job if one needed to, and also to improve communications and working with Bolashak graduates. I would also list as one of the important things, which was in line with the requirement of the society, especially during the pandemic. I remember during my presidential period of time that there were many also critical sentiment and requirements about Bolashaks. Where are they? What are those Bolashak graduates we paid our money for? Where are those specialists to bring some vaccine? Where are those to combat with the COVID in terms of finding out how to combat with these unknown viruses and so on and so forth? And to be to respond to those pandemic time criticism, we launched the Bolashak Impact Bolashak program Impact Research. So to respond to society and to answer to their question, where are they and what they are doing. And I think that piloting research was quite timely and quite very successful, and I hope that the current administration of the Bolashak Presidential Scholarship will be continuing that impact research, because it's important to, in a way, to prevent those unnecessary, very often artificial, negative kind of a narrative about the Bolashak program and every Bolashak graduate which are doing. So I can list a lot of things, but for our period of time, with some of the challenges we had as COVID-19, I think the team supported by all the public agencies, government agencies, and the Bolashak graduates and many other international organizations, other partners, I think we managed to do quite well. And actually, as the deputy chairman of the Bolashak Graduates Association, we are continuing to work on bringing Bolashak graduates closer to society in terms of showing what they're doing. Because the thing to always bear in mind is that each of the Bolashak graduates, they don't speak about what they're doing on a daily basis, because for them it's their routine life.
Currently, you are deputy chairman of the MNU University. It's one of the leading and prominent universities in Kazakhstan, and you are playing key roles in this university. What is your occupation right now? What kind of directions you are managing in this university?
Thank you very much, Elnura, for distinguishing the Maksud Narikbayev University. It's indeed one of the best and leading universities of our country, and top ranking, recognized by its excellence not only in Kazakhstan but beyond, by very prominent international independent accreditations. You know that this year we were accredited by the British Quality Assurance Agency in the higher education field, QA, and we have also accredited the business school in particular by FIBA European Agency, and looking now for other global aspirations. And I'm proud to be part of the university. Back in 2022, when I finished my tenure as the president of the Presidential Bolashak Program Administrator Center for International Programs, I was luckily invited by the chairman of the board of Maqsud Narikbayev University, Mr. Talhat Maqsudullah Narikbayev, and I am in charge of the strategy and human development. In my capacity of deputy chairman for strategy and development, I would say I work with people. My main job as deputy chairman is to be always measuring the temperature of well-being of our people, because our chairman is true leader to my mind, and many do agree and recognize. So he is always concerned and very keen to be confident that people are happy. So I would say I am chief people's officer in a way, as many corporate organizations have as new positions. So as deputy chairman, I am in charge of HR processes, so all the policies, all the assessments, it's also about looking for the best from the best for teaching professorial staff, adapting, accompanying their work process at the university, but also to align all we are doing for people with the people, and making sure that teaching professorial staff and people who are supporting them, like us, the administrative staff, are doing their jobs most effectively and efficiently, and understand what is our mission, so that in line with our mission we monitor the successful delivery of our development strategy, which is new for the period of 2024 and 2027, the 3 following academic study years. That's about my job at the university. I am also, in addition to these 2 important areas of any organization's development, but higher education institution in particular, I also cover the Department for Alumni and Endowment, which has 3 main important areas of financing students in financial needs, with financial needs, but also aftercare and working with graduates of the university, and endowment fund, which is a source for financial support for many different projects supporting development of the university.
Ainur Baghdad kızı, your university is supporting international initiatives. You have great guests like presidents, prime ministers. You also arrange teaching from members of parliament, ambassadors. I think that is such a great achievement. And also, recently I noticed that you were moderating meeting of students with presidents and prime ministers, chairmen of national companies. With your extensive leadership and diplomacy background, how do you feel in such a role?
Well, I think for Maqsud Narikbayev University, as the leading humanities and social sciences university, with global aspirations, the international cooperation is one of the important priorities, and what we do for our students. And one of the, I think logic and the reason behind the activities you've listed and you distinguish is also because of our universities being forward-looking and active in closely working with the foreign organizations, international organizations, and the foreign embassies accredited here in Kazakhstan, and many other organizations from the industry. we have 4 schools: Law, School of Law, International School of Economics, the School of Liberal Arts, and International School of Journalism and Business School. And there is an international relations program within the International School of Economics, which had applied diplomacy program already successfully being delivered for the recent few years. And I think partly also thanks to this program, which engages leading senior diplomats as ambassadors of foreign countries in Kazakhstan, I think they, by teaching and delivering different lectures to our universities, also sharing their career advice and sharing their researches in the field of bilateral international relations, multilateral diplomacy, foreign policy, and many others, you name it. They by engaging and becoming part of our academic content, foreign senior diplomats, they understood that we are not just the university, but we are a university to be trying to bring to our students best lecturers, best teaching professorial staff, but also every time they come to our university, they are very much excited, positively energized by this vibe of young Kazakh people strive to be something important for their country. And that's why they are so happy to be coming to our university and to share their best knowledges, because they know for sure they are sharing their best knowledge and experience with youth of Kazakhstan, who will be using these best practices for the benefit of their country. That's, I think, something valuable we should distinguish. And this great connection of our university with the best senior diplomats naturally, eventually brought to more and more international content, which we benefit from. And of course, when some official and the state visits happen, and if they are heads of the states or heads of the governments wish to have in their programs meeting with the youth, of course, the ambassadors, when they are asked, the first persons to be asked which higher education to go, those are the ambassadors. They represent their countries in Kazakhstan. And in many cases, when they are asked such question, the first university comes to their mind, of course, is Mahsud Narikbayev University, without any exaggeration. And that was in the case of the visits of the French President Macron to Kazakhstan when he had the meeting with our students. Same happened during the visit of the Dutch Prime Minister, who then became the Secretary General of NATO. The most recent visit of the Federal Chancellor of Germany, Mr. Olaf Scholz, it was all because the active international work of our cooperation of our university. And I think we should distinguish here the role and the contribution, the active work of our international office, because the way international office structurize, prioritize work with the international organizations, foreign embassies, other leading universities, you can see what you can benefit. And returning to the moderation, myself and there is another deputy chairman of the board. If I am in charge of the strategy and human development, my colleague Ms. Zakiyeva, she is deputy chairman in charge of the international cooperation. So given our previous diplomatic experience, we try to always to use our previous connections, I would say, and network and our diplomatic skills, also in terms of um, intensifying the international cooperation, which was always there. We are just trying to to bring our own, in a way, contribution, and moderating of these world leaders was on the one hand a very high responsibility for me, but at the same time a great honor, because for myself, and it was our chairman's, in a way, proposal for me to moderate, because he was sure that I'd be able to build this connection between the guest speaker, but also the students as the target audience. But I think all these visits helped us to globally become even more visible. But most important thing we have from this meetings with the world leaders, I think the mindset growth of our students, because not every day, not every university of our countries university students have this unique opportunities to talk firsthand to such world leaders. They have listened to, for example, in the case of French President Macron, his 1 hour standing speech in front of the students was very inspiring. He was sharing different views on the world global politics, on bilateral relations between Kazakhstan and France, on many other challenging issues across the globe. But the questions from the students were from time to time even tricky, and they had the opportunity to ask their questions, to have first-hand response from the world leader, and every such I think opportunity and meeting to the world leaders make our students grow. Grow in terms of knowledge, grow in terms of, in a way, finding questions to some of the answers to some of the questions on further career advice, further professional development. And these are role models that inspire our youth to become and to change for better. And when we are trying to organize such meetings, we always think of our students. We always try to grasp those opportunities. And I think for us as deputy chairman, myself and my colleague I mentioned earlier, when we find out of some visits coming to our country, we try to use all of our connections to check with our embassies in those countries, to talk to the embassies of those countries here, and try our best to make them happen and to have those leaders at our university.
Amazing.
And to make our students happy.
I think that it is a privilege to study MNU, and I see I see how you enjoy talking about diplomacy and all about the international relations, and of course about the education. And of course you have this extensive experience in both spheres, in education and in diplomacy. Of course, you start as a diplomat, started in your back in your 20s. So personally, it is just interesting to know which of these two spheres do you personally find rewarding? And also, I would like to ask, would you go back to diplomacy? I mean, would you like to come back to diplomatic work?
Well, it's a bit complicated to distinguish which is rewarding. I started, yes, I mean, my dream was to become a diplomat, and I think I knew from the early childhood that I want to be a negotiator, diplomat, because I was always next to my grandfather, who was called as the diplomat of the steppe, the great peace builder, the great negotiator. And I was pursuing my dream in the course of my life by studying international relations, by joining foreign office of our country, by working overseas as a senior diplomat. And I would be wrong if I say that education is more rewarding and diplomacy as my past professional affiliation is less rewarding. I would be wrong. I think each of the areas of my professional development were rewarding and has a lot to do with what I am today in terms of my being as a person, personality, and also as a professional. But in terms of prospective development, of course, diplomacy and foreign policy in general, I think is unfortunately still masculine. And for ladies, eventually in foreign service, you end up with the glass ceiling in terms of kind of a further advanced professional development. And I think back in 2017, I faced that glass ceiling, and there was a natural shift of me from foreign service to higher education when I joined higher education and then was invited to the Bolashak Presidential Scholarship Administrator, which is international educational organization. In higher education, I feel I'm doing right. I feel I am inspiring youth. I feel I am contributing for better changes, and I wouldn't distinguish this was rewarding, more rewarding, and this was less rewarding. I think it's in a way timely shift of my professional development, and in terms of whether I think for I would be able to return. At the moment, I have no plans, to be frank, but you never know. You never know. I mean, in the system of the foreign service, there is this the reserve. When you I believe that once being a diplomat, you stay a diplomat forever. It's kind of your life commitment. If I left officially foreign service, I didn't stop becoming less diplomat. I think I'm trying to be diplomat in higher education. So in a way, that's why, and we are all, when we left the officially the system of foreign service, we were all put to the reserve. That is a pool of the former diplomats, and I think if any time we are called to this service, and if that would be required, we are always ready to consider, but now I am enjoying where I am.
You know, currently we have lots of educated women in Kazakhstan, and they're holding very high and responsible positions. Currently, you are also holding this high position, and you were representing our country in London and in Seoul. You worked as a diplomat in other foreign countries. So what would you say to young generation, to young women?
Well, I would say that there are a lot of opportunities, and one should always educate him or herself, as we are all doing, and grasp all the existing opportunities, not to waste time. we are lucky to live in an independent country with its own high status in the international community and with recognized status. So we are now equal partners to all the leading countries. Also, only Bolashak presidential scholarship widens educational opportunities. You can study in Kazakhstan for free. You can study abroad via Bolashak, via other existing many other different scholarship programs. There are untapped opportunities, and you have to be, I think, always in search of those opportunities, in constant development and educating yourself. For such, I think, people, there are always good things at place. And of course, to surround yourself with similar forward-looking people, which always, in a way, make you strive even for higher results and for better changes. Young ladies, of course, I mean, women leadership has its own, I would say, challenges, and I would be, in a way, I would not be frank if I say that it's all okay, it's easy, you can easily become a woman leader. I mean, across the sectors, I think there are relevant challenges, but in the education field in particular, I think there are all the opportunities. I mean, look at us. Our university, for example, Maksud Narikbayev University, is 70% governed by women. So if we have 5 schools, 4 of them academic, 4 academic schools are chaired by ladies, professional ladies in their field. And our executive board is consisted of 70% consisted of ladies, including myself. So our chairman has 4 deputy chairmen, and 2 of them are ladies, including myself. And many other administrative departments also chaired by ladies. What I wanted to say is that across the sectors, there are, for example, the heavier the sector, like industry, construction, maybe energy sector, oil and gas, you would see less women leaders. I meant on the decision-making level and the members of the governing bodies. But such areas as education, healthcare, I think were always traditionally were predominant. I mean, the service areas predominant by ladies, and growing professionally, I think, is comparatively easier, less challenging. Probably, not easier, but less challenging in comparison with those sectors I mentioned. But we have excellent examples of ladies, top managers in heavy industries, in some heavy plants, machinery plants. So what I want to say, I think in Kazakhstan, in the field of education, there are a lot of opportunities, and we should not distinguish them by gender. There is no gender in existing opportunities. Be a man or a lady, there are untapped opportunities. You have to just constantly work on your growing, developing, and educating yourself. Surround yourself with similar growth mindset, forward-looking professionals. Strive for better. Look for new opportunities. Don't miss opportunities. Don't waste your time. For ladies, of course, there is a period of time when you have to also think of your personal life, because that's nature. But I think if you're lucky to meet your life person, to create your beautiful family, to bring birth to your beautiful smart kids, to be happy in your family, I think women can do successfully, both being a successful mother, but also a successful professional. I think it's all depend on your family, on people supporting you. And I was lucky to have my family always supporting me in my professional growth and my aspirations.
That is amazing. Ainur Baghdad-kızı, I have two last questions, and they are quite personal. So, my first personal question is that do you have favorite books, or currently what kind of books in your shelves or on your table?
Oh, well, yeah. I usually have, I call them slow reads. And I like surround myself with books, with some fiction, but mainly now we have a lot of professional kind of development books. I have them all, surround myself. I do believe in environment design, so I look to surround myself with good books, and I feel in a way inspired by them next to me. One of my last slow reads is the last edition of Corporate Governance, and I'm reading it in Kazakh translation in principle.
It's written.
It's written in Russian. It was first published back in, I think, 2007 by KPMG, and the new edition was published recently by KPMG and the Association of the QID, Kazakh Independent Directors Association.
And it is translated into Kazakh.
Into Kazakh, and the quality of translation is quite nice. And I'm reading it for my everyday kind of a professional development. I find it quite useful. Yeah, that's my one of the recent slow reads, but also our chairman, whom I also mentioned in our conversation today, Talat Maksutullah, I think is very inspiring leader, and he often in this our daily routine conversations, he always shares his impressions of the books he is reading, and the one of the best books he also used for his leadership was From Good to Great by Jim Collin, which I also recently had the chance to read through, which I also liked very much, and which is very inspiring. And if the question is what books you would recommend for our young generation to look at, I think it's very good. And I also like Peter Drucker. I think the recent books I have read was the book by him called The Effective Executive. And the reason why I return back to this book is always to find out some key, I think, advice in terms of how to master effective leadership, efficient leadership, how to be effective, and how to master on a daily routine life being effective. And yes, these are the books are on my desk right now, and both on a digital format, but also hard copies. Yeah, and the Corporate Governance is the one I'm slowly reading and using as reference in my this recent
professional
work.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for these recommendations. I should start reading this Corporate Governance book. I also have it in Kazakh and Russian language. So, my second personal question. Can you please tell us about your jewelry?
This national jewelry is is the heritage from my mother line. So she is one of the 6 daughters of her parents, and her mother was distributing this jewelry among her 6 of the daughters, including my mother, and her mother also inherited this jewelry from her mother, and my mother distributed the jewelry, national jewelry, this including these ones, she inherited from her mother among 3 of her daughters, including myself as her eldest daughter. So, and now having them with me, I will be keeping them safely. So I'll do the same as my mom did with me. I'll be doing it and giving later to my daughters. So I'm happy to have this, in a way, our family treasure, which brings, which always keeps us connected with our roots, with our family history, and it's also kind of a visible thing to always tell to our kids where are they from, who are their parents, what are their roots, what are their history, what are their identity. And I think this national jewelry is good, in a way, keeper of the history. So I'm lucky to have them with me.
Such a heritage, actually. And our podcast is festival about Kazakh identity. Thank you very much for being with us, being with me in this podcast.
Rahmet,
Көп рахмет
thank you very
сізге.
much.